Are daily merchant cash advance loans killing your business, taking the lifeblood out of the business? I'm going to show you 3 legal ways that Nevada small business owners can help lower or stop these MCA payments. I'm attorney Judah Zakalik, founding partner at PandA Law. At PandA Law, we help small business owners all the time get out of SBA debt, help restructure consumer or personal or business loans that they may have to get them out of debt. But also we help small business owners get out of merchant cash advance, MCA debt. This is predatory lending debt, high interest rates that can cripple your business. We can show you how to get out of it, save money, keep your business moving, and your lights on. Now, before we talk about merchant cash advance, MCA debt, and how to defend against it, let's talk about what we mean. And I'm not talking about the Beastie Boy member MCA. We're talking about merchant cash advances, where a company, a lender, will lend a small business a lump sum of cash, and in exchange for that lump sum loan, they're going to take a percentage of whatever your daily or weekly cash receipts are. And oftentimes they'll tap into your payment system and take those monies directly out of your receipts, or they'll tap into your bank account and get automatic withdrawals out of those. These loans can be very high interest. They can be crippling to a business. They don't have to comply with usury laws normally because they're not consumer facing, right? They're small business facing. So if you're in this MCA trap, how do we get you out of it? So let's talk about some MCA characteristics first. Some of these include repayment structure. We already talked about how they're normally going to get repayment through your daily receipts or weekly receipts. And they'll take that directly from your POS system or through your bank account where you'll give them ACH. Now, they're going to give you a predetermined kind of holdback rate, which is the return they're going to get on their investment, which is normally a predetermined percentage of sales. This means that these loans can fluctuate. So the more cash flow that your business has, the greater amount of the principal they're going to lend to you. MCAs often use a factor rate instead of an interest rate. A factor rate is a decimal percentage of what they expect to get as a return on their investment. Oftentimes it ranges from 1.1 to 1.5 of the amount they lent, but it can be varying based upon how risky the MCA lender sees your business as. And just so we understand, 1.1 means about a 10% return on their investment. 1.5 means about a 50% return on their investment. So just for ease of numbers, let's say they lend you $100,000 at a 1.1 factor, they're gonna want 110 back. If it's a 1.5 factor, it's 150,000 back. Now, one of the benefits of an MCA loan is they're often more accessible, right? Instead of you going through a traditional bank, trying to get a business loan, having to go through all these hoops and hurdles to get that loan, the MCAs are gonna fund you pretty quickly. Normally you're gonna get your money in 24 to 48 hours. You'll be flush with cash, but understand for every benefit, there's a corresponding detriment. Additionally, MCAs normally are not gonna require any hard collateral, right? Sometimes traditional banks will require a lien on real estate. MCAs, although not requiring any hard collateral, will often require personal guarantees on the business loan, and they may also use what's called a UCC lien to try to attach any inventory or equipment you may have so you can't sell it without MCA approval. And also they can use these UCC liens to get paid by your vendors if you stop paying the MCA directly. Your vendors are the people that owe you money, right? So they'll contact those vendors and say, look, we have a UCC lien for your business, and then get money directly from those vendors. So you need to talk to lawyers on how to navigate those UCC liens. Very critical. MCAs are often more costly than traditional loans, and that's because they're taking a bigger risk. They're giving you money quicker, so they're more costly, right? More risk, more reward for them. But it's something that you need to factor in when you're thinking about whether to get an MCA loan or when you're thinking about how to get out of that MCA loan. Now understand, as in everything, rules can vary state by state. PandA Law is a Nevada law firm. We're also licensed in Texas and California and other states too, but understand I'm giving you advice based upon Nevada law primarily as of September 2025. Rules vary state by state and they can evolve, laws can evolve over time, so please always check with a local legal advisor in your jurisdiction. So here's some quick MCA basics to remember. MCAs take a cut of your daily sales, right? And they're gonna take it directly from your POS system or your bank. What that means is when your revenue dips, perhaps also those payments will dip. But when your revenue goes up, those payments will also increase. Oftentimes this can crush your cash flow. As a small business, we all understand how cash flow is the lifeblood of that business. So we have to be aware of that. Also, we need to watch out for personal guarantees on these things. Sometimes they'll want you to sign confessions of judgment, reconciliation clauses, and those UCC liens that are very critical and can often impact your business going forward if you default on these debts. And also remember that these are not personal loans, right? These are business loans, business to business loans, which means you don't get a lot of those consumer protections that you would get with credit cards, personal loans, payday loans. So you're expected to be a more savvy consumer of financial services because it's business to business. So just understand that you don't have a lot of those protections. That's why it's even more critical to come to an attorney that deals in this kind of debt resolution. So let's talk about 3 legal methods to stop these MCA withdrawals. And understand, stopping the MCA withdrawal is absolutely critical to negotiating that MCA debt, because they're not going to take less or put you on an affordable payment plan if they're getting money from you all the time. So number 1, withdraw the automatic authorization for them to take money out of your bank account. So go to your bank, tell them you stop the automatic authorization. Also do that same thing with your POS system. Just revoke that authorization. You're gonna wanna talk to your vendors about what can be done with their UCC liens. And that's really gonna be your attorney's job, because your vendors often have attorneys, and we're gonna speak legalese to their attorneys to talk about what protections you have under the UCC liens. Sometimes part and parcel of that, you can close down an old business and start a new business that doesn't have the same bank accounts, that doesn't have the same POS system, and we can use the same DBA. There's a lot of kind of innovative, creative ways we can go about stopping payment that still abide by the law. Worst case, number 3, we can talk about court protections, right? What can we do to file in court to stop them from going after you? Maybe that's bankruptcy. Maybe that's some kind of injunction that we're asking for in the civil courts. But most of the time, if we can avoid going through the formal legal system, that'll be better, because these contracts are written very one-sided, to benefit that MCA company. So we have to think about practical ways to get you out of this debt that sometimes can navigate around the formal legal system. Also, another practical point when dealing with MCA loans, a lot of these lenders come out of Florida, New York, East Coast states, we see them. And so oftentimes they're gonna be very aggressive those first few weeks, right? If we can somehow weather that first few weeks, they're gonna get tired and then they're gonna wanna settle. But within those first few weeks, they're gonna contact your vendors to try to use their UCC liens. They're gonna file lawsuits in the state, New York, Florida, whatever. And those are very scary to people, to business owners, both of those things. But understand that New York judgment cannot collect money in Nevada. They have to domesticate that in Nevada. And oftentimes these MCA lenders don't know that. We're gonna use that against them. Oftentimes they're gonna rely heavily on these UCC liens, but we have practical ways to navigate around those UCC liens so you can still get your money from your vendors so you can operate while not paying these MCAs. That creates uncertainty, that creates leverage, and all those things will force the MCA lender to come to the table to negotiate with us. So what does the owner have to do to kind of tackle these MCA loans on the front end? Number 1, they should gather the MCA agreements, any bank statements, any processor reports, so we know what we're dealing with, right? We want to see these things in writing. Number 2, do not take on any more new MCA debts to pay off the old debts. It's just getting you deeper in that hole. Stop the bleeding. Stop paying the MCAs, but before you do that, come speak to a local attorney. If you're in Nevada, California, Texas, call us, we'll set up a free consult. We'll go through these things step by step, but you want to talk to a local attorney, one that provides not only bankruptcy options, but debt settlement options, so you have all possible ways to get you out of this debt. Also, if you're having a hard time finding a local attorney in your state or your town that handles MCA debt, give us a call. We may be able to handle that even in your own state, right? Or we have relationships with attorneys throughout the country that we may be able to refer you to. Also, as always, please comment your questions below. If you have a private matter that you want to talk to PandA Law about, email us at questions@pandalawfirm.com or go to pandalawfirm.com and set up a free consultation with one of our attorneys. And please remember my common refrain: the earlier you act, the more options you will have, the more money you will save. Ounce of prevention equals a pound of cure is very relevant when it comes to getting you out of debt. So if you're struggling with MCA debt, please act now. Call an attorney, call PandA Law. We'll give you free advice on the best way and all the options to get you out of that debt and save your business.